Morning and welcome. We'll get started lying down, getting comfortably situated on your mat. Taking up space, settling into stillness, releasing your body onto the mat, allowing yourself to feel supported, and finding that sense of grounding. Closing the eyes when you feel ready. And taking a few exhales through the mouth, releasing any tension that you might be holding on to. Allowing your breath to feel natural, effortless, breathing in and out through the nose. Take this time to connect with your breath. Allowing any thoughts of your day that's past or what's to come to wash away. And allowing yourself to be here with your body, here with your breath, and with your mind and awareness all together in union. Feeling the bodily sensations with every breath, the rise and fall of your chest and belly. Feeling the space inside you expanding and contracting as you breathe. Noticing any other sensations from your body. It could be the temperature of the air around you. If you're choosing to be outdoors, maybe there's a breeze, sun. Just becoming aware of your surroundings, even with the eyes closed. As we move through the class, I invite you to maintain this connection with your breath and your body. Start to move toes, the ankles, the fingers and the wrists. Sliding the feet together, reaching the arms up overhead. And as you breathe in, stretch the whole body. And as you breathe out, relax into that space. Breathe in to stretch, reaching your fingers and toes in opposite directions. And breathe out to relax. And breathe in to stretch. And then breathe out to settle. And we bend both knees, lifting them up, planting your feet down on the mat, hip width distance. Reaching the arms beside the body. Let's touch the heels with our fingers. Pressing down through the hands and feet. Let's drive the hips off the mat as you peel your spine off the mat. Pressing down through the back of the head and shoulders, lengthening your tailbone up and away. Keeping the knees tracking above the ankles as you press down through your feet. Adding some movement here as you inhale, begin to lay the spine down onto the mat. And as your sit bones make contact with the exhale, driving the hips up once again. Inhale to bring your spine down on the mat with control. Exhale to lift up. Continue moving at your own pace, matching the movement with your breath. Inhale to lay the spine down. Exhale to drive the hips up. And noticing on the way down if your knees start to move in or out, and you want to maintain a nice neutral position for your knees, keeping the descending and ascending movement to be smooth. And the next time you lift the hips up, we'll pause here for a moment. Rolling your shoulders underneath, interlace the fingers together if that's comfortable for you. Tucking one pinky in, pushing down through the fist to drive the hips up even higher, lifting your chest towards your chin, really opening into the front body here. Continue to find that length in your spine as you press down to the back of the head, from the head all the way to the tailbone. The spine is long. Breathe into that space, relaxing into the glutes. See if you can lift the hips even higher. And we start to release the fingers, releasing your spine. And as your seat makes contact with the mat, lift the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the shins, and we tuck into a tight ball. And from here, rolling over onto your preferred side, using the hands to press yourself up and coming up into a tabletop position. Fingers are spread, palms are flat. And we're going to push into the toe mounts. Take the knees off the mat just a few inches. Press into the hands to fill up into your upper and middle back. Head is in line with the spine, chin slightly tucked in. Feel that length from your head down to the tailbone. Low belly pulling in. Holding this position for a few moments, just keeping the knees hovering. Building up some heat, spreading into the fingers, pushing down through your palms. And really focusing on keeping that low belly pulled in so the core is active. The legs are working here, hanging out for another 3, 2, and 1. With the exhale, laying your knees down. With the inhale, begin to arch into the spine, draw the shoulders down the back, looking forward. Maybe the eyes go up as you breathe in. Exhale, tucking your tailbone down towards the mat, pressing into the hands, rounding into your spine, chest to chin. Moving through your cat and cow stretch as you breathe. Inhale for the back bend. And exhale for the rounded back. Inhale into spinal extension. And exhale into spinal flexion. And just waking up your spine, finding movement through the lower, middle, and upper part. Waking up the muscles alongside your spine and the lower back, shoulders, even the hips. Feel free to add in any movements here if that feels good. Let's take a couple of more breaths here. And we find our way into a neutral spine. From here, lower down onto your forearms. Keeping the hips stacking above the knees, we walk the elbows away from the body, resting your forehead on the mat. Maybe the chin if you prefer. Pressing the arm bones into their sockets. Opening through your chest. Tailbone naturally extending up and away. From here, we push into the palms, lift the chest up, driving your upper body forward, laying your hips down onto the mat. Come onto the tops of the feet, transitioning to Sphinx pose, elbows underneath your shoulders. As you press down through your hips and tops of your feet, pull the shoulders down the back, and gazing forward, maybe gazing up to the ceiling, breathing into the belly here, finding your back bend. Broadening through your collarbones. And breathing here. As you exhale, look past your right shoulder towards the back right corner of your mat. Inhale, come back to center, exhale to the left. Inhale, coming back one more time. Exhale to the right. Inhale, come back. Exhale to the left. Inhale, come back. From here, we're going to flip over onto our left side. I'd like you to have your feet stacked, elbow underneath the shoulder. If you prefer, you can have your right foot planted in the center of your mat, add a little bit more stability, whatever you prefer. We're going to keep this lower forearm as our grounding part of the body. So we push down, making sure the shoulder stays above the elbow. We lift the hips up as you press into the bottom of your left foot. And if you like, you can stay as you are, reaching up to that right arm, maybe extending the right leg to stack here. You want to find that nice long energy from your head all the way down to the toes. If you want, you can lift that top leg as well. Lots of options to choose from. The idea here is to find strength and engagement through your obliques, coming into the midsection here. Maybe shifting your gaze up towards your extended hand. Keeping a nice easy breath here for 3, 2, and 1. Releasing the hips onto the mat. Come on down to your forearms once again. And we flip over to the other side. Elbow underneath the shoulder. That part is crucial. You want to make sure your shoulder stays protected here. Placing your foot where it feels best. And then lifting your hips up. Reaching up through your top hand if you like. And try to lean back through your head and shoulders here. Keep pressing down to the outer edge of your right foot. Keeping the hips lifted. Nice and strong through your bottom arm and shoulder. Keep breathing. Finding your steady gaze. And then releasing back down. Turning onto your hips and shoulders once again. Taking a couple of breaths here. And we're going to bring palms together, interlace the fingers, tucking one pinky in, tucking your toes under. We're going to push down through the feet, pushing into your forearms, lifting the shoulders, the upper and mid back. Head is in line with your spine, low belly is pulled in, lifting into the backs of your knees so there's strength through your legs, the midsection, and the shoulders. The whole body is working to stabilize here. Keeping a nice, easy breath. Noticing if you start to collapse into your chest here, you want to keep pushing down into the forearms to stay full in your upper and mid back. Keep that low belly pulled in, pelvis stays lifted, level with your shoulders. Really nice work. Notice if your knees start to sag here, you want to keep them nice and strong. Breathing for another 3, 2, and 1. Relaxing your knees onto the mat. Hi, sweetheart. From here, we're going to lower down onto our hands, onto our chest, extend the arms beside the body. And bring the hands to rest on your lower back and the back of the sacrum. Palms are facing up. And from here, we're going to work on opening the shoulder. So what I'd like you to do is think about bringing your shoulder blades into each other here. So squeezing the shoulder blades together behind you, opening across your chest, and then releasing the heads of the shoulders back down onto the mat. We lift the heads of the shoulders off, squeezing your shoulder blades together, and then we bring the shoulders back down. Just going back and forth, just like that a few times. Shoulder blades come together, and we release. Keeping the hands just resting on your lower back or the back of the sacrum. The rest of the body can just relax, keeping your chin on the mat and just getting really focused into our scapula, our shoulder blades, retracting them when we pull them together, protracting them when we let them come apart. And the next time you retract them, let's keep them as they are. We're going to extend the arms, palms face down, and fingertips reaching out to the sides. Your arms are about 45 degrees to the side at the wings of an airplane. Now we're going to lift the chin and chest off the mat, pressing down through your hips, opening across your chest, gazing forward, and really think about extending out through your fingertips. You can feel that opening across the chest. If you like, you can lift the legs off the mat here as well, bringing strength through your posture, your chain, your low back, glutes, hamstrings, all working together here to lift the body against gravity. From here, we're going to bend the elbows and then bring the hands onto the mat, elbows over the wrists, bringing your feet down onto the tops of our feet. Elbows tuck into the ribs here as you breathe in. Press into the hands, rising up for baby cobra. Open the chest, roll the shoulders back, breathe here. Maybe the eyes go up. Inhale to lift a little higher if that's comfortable for your back. Exhale to release back down. From here, we tuck the toes under, pull the belly button off the mat, keeping the heads of the shoulders up, shoulder blades squeezing together behind you, elbows tucked into the ribs. We're going to keep the knees on the mat. We'll push into the hands to lift your chest, belly, and the top of the thighs off at the same time. Send the seat back, looking through your thighs. Lift the knees, lift the seat. Let's move our way into downward facing dog. Spreading your fingers as you press into the hands, let your chest move towards your thighs. Feel free to pedal out the feet here. Finding your length for your downward dog, you want to keep the shoulders over wrists and your heels over toes. That's the optimal alignment that you want to have for downward dog. And then from here, as you move your hips side to side, stretch into the low back, stretch into the calf muscles. You find stillness here. And the inhale, send that right leg up. Exhale to bend that knee, swing your leg forward, planting the foot on the mat between the hands. Take your time to find that transition. As you rise up, bring the fingers together onto the right thigh, relaxing in through the shoulders, sinking in through your hips. You can have your back toes tucked under or be on the top of that foot, whatever feels better. From here, we're going to lift the chest as you take your gaze up to the ceiling. Bring the palms together at chest center. And then we reach the arms up overhead. Bring in that stretch a little further in. Continue to drive the hips down and forward. From here, we come into cactus arms. So you open up the arms beside you, retract the shoulder blades, spreading your fingers nice and wide. Lift the elbows up and away. Rotating the shoulders externally. And let's reach the arms beside you. Inhale the arms up. Draw the shoulders down the back. From here, we're going to tuck the back toes under and take the left knee off the mat. Coming into a high lunge. Scissoring into the hips as you pull your right hip back, left hip moving forward. Bring the palms together at chest center. So you can inhale, lengthen, exhale, Reach the elbow across your body, left arm pressing against the outer right thigh. As you press the top hand into the bottom hand, finding your twist here. Feel free to stay here if you like. You can reach your left hand down, take the top arm up as an option. Wherever you choose to stay, make sure you're feeling steady. Make sure you're breathing for 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring the back knee down. Inhale to come out of the twist, placing the hands onto the mat. And from here, we're going to take that back knee off once again, stepping that right foot back, finding your plank, maybe keeping that leg lifted if you want for your chaturanga transition as you exhale, lower down. Inhale, rising up for your back bend. Exhale into downward facing dog. Fingers spread, palms are flat. Press into the hands, move your chest towards your thighs. Gazing in between your legs. And feel that belly button pulling in as you lift the seat higher. Finding movement or stillness in your downward dog, your choice. Breathe. Inhale to find length. And exhale to settle into that space. Taking the shoulders away from the ears, rolling the armpits in to face each other. Find that strong shoulder girdle. On the next breath in, we pick up the left leg. And exhale to swing that leg forward, planting the foot between the hands, ground into the back knee. Same sequence on the other side. Fingers coming together. Relax into the shoulders. Sink into the hips. Stretching out those hip flexors on the right side. Just allow yourself to settle in. Taking a few breaths. And then pressing into the hands, lifting the chest, looking up to the ceiling. Taking your time as you move through the transitions, make sure you're feeling steady, stable, grounded all the way through. Bring the palms together at chest center. And we reach the arms up and back. You really find that stretch through the front body. Draw the shoulders down the back. From here, we move into cactus arms, squeezing your shoulder blades together, broaden across the chest, and then rotate the arm bones externally as you lift the elbows up and away. Then start to reach the arms out to the sides. Really find that expanse across your chest from pinky to pinky. Breathe into that space. And we inhale from here, reaching the arms up, tucking the back toes under, taking your right knee off the mat, finding your way into high lunge. If you prefer, you can keep that back knee down. Bring the palms together at chest center. Nice strong lunge here. Take an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, reach the right elbow across the body. Press it against the left thigh. Finding your variation here. Prayer twist with a lunge. Think about keeping your belly button away from the inner thigh. Continue to scissor into the hips. That left hip pulls back, the right hip pushing forward. Top hand pressing into the bottom hand, that arm pressing against the leg. The connection with the arm and leg is strong and active. Inhale, coming out of the twist, placing the hands onto the mat. Back knee lift. If it's down from here, we take that left foot back. Finding plank or keeping that leg lifted for the transition. You can always skip chaturanga if you like. Coming down, inhale, rise up. Cobra or up dog. And exhale. Downward facing dog. Again, finding stillness, movement, your choice. Each time you come back into downward dog, just taking a bit of time to find the pose from the foundation. Spread into your fingers, flattening into the palms. Finding strength and engagement through the arms and shoulders. Finding length from your head to your tailbone. Finding strength through the legs. As you stretch into the backs of the legs, pushing the heels down towards the mat. Feel free to keep the knees bent. Breathing here. 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knees, gaze forward, exhale. Transition to the top of the mat. Inhale, coming up halfway, hands on shins, lengthen through your spine, chin tucked in. Exhale. Feet are hip width distance. Bring a bend into the knees. release into the spine, relaxing in your passive forward fold here, Uttanasana. And grabbing opposite elbows if you like, rocking a little side to side. Releasing the head and neck, nodding back and forth, shaking side to side. Allow your spine to just decompress, let it hang loose. Hugging the chest into the thighs, lifting your seat up and away from the floor. Get that stretch to move into the hamstrings. Let's come back to center. Release the elbows, hands on shins. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale to release. As you press into your feet, inhale, come all the way up to standing, reaching the arms up. Palms touch as you look between the hands. And exhale, lower the hands down through chest center. Taking a sip of water here if you like. We're going to set up at the top of the mat in Tadasana, mountain pose. Grounding down through your feet. Feet are hip width distance. And one of the ways you can find a stronger root with your feet is when you're standing with your feet hip width distance apart. Think about screwing your feet into the earth. And what I mean by that is when we screw something, we go in and to the right. And that's sort of what you want to think about doing with your feet. So we press the feet down into the earth and think about rotating your feet out to the right. Right for right and left for left. So you go down into the feet and then rotate outward. And when you do that, you might feel your feet just really locking into place. Sometimes in martial arts or in yoga, they talk about finding your root. And this is one of the ways that you can start to achieve that root is by having your feet feel like they're really connected into the earth and have your spine lengthening down the back and metaphorically your spine going down into the earth and then taking root just like a tree. So you're stable, you're grounded, really feeling that connection with the earth. To further engage into the legs, think about lifting your kneecaps up the thighs, your quads engage, your lower belly is pulled in, the tailbone's reaching down, chest is open, shoulders are relaxed, arms are hanging beside the body, palms turn in. And the chin is just slightly tucked in, so there's that extension through the back of the neck all the way up towards the sky. So as you breathe in, the top of the head lengthens upwards. As you breathe out, the tailbone roots further into the earth. If you're standing like this for a few moments, you'll start to notice that there's actually quite a bit of engagement that's required from the feet and the legs. You might start to feel a little bit of fatigue if you're not used to holding your body in this manner. So I always recommend, and if you're someone that feels like when you're standing, you're not quite stable, and I'm guilty of this too, sometimes I sort of do this and do that. I like to practice holding my body in this strong, grounded way. Anytime I'm standing, standing in line at the grocery store, brushing my teeth in the morning, I try to find this engagement and let it become a part of my movement habit. From here, we're going to transition back into movement. So as you inhale, reach the arms up, bring the palms together. As you exhale, hinge from the hips, diving all the way down, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, coming up halfway. Exhale to plant the palms. From here, we transition back into plank. You can step back, you can hop. If you're hopping, when you land, elbows bent into chaturanga. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Feet are hip width distance, hands or shoulders apart. Inhale, send the right leg up. From here, we bend the knee and begin to rotate the right hip to stack over left. Shoulders stay side by side, reaching the right knee higher as you drive the left heel down. Inhale to square the hips. As you exhale, swing your leg forward, bringing the foot between the hands. From here, we ground into the back leg. Turning your left toes out to the side as you push into your feet, rising up for warrior two. Arms reaching in opposite directions. Bending into that front leg, bring it closer to 90, deepen the stance if you need to. With your back leg strong, push into the outer edge of your left foot, opening your hips by rotating both of your legs externally. From here, we flip the front palm, lean back as you exhale, exalted warrior. Left hand coming around the back into a half bind as you continue to bend into that front leg, while the right hand reaches up and back. Shift the gaze up if you like. Keeping that back leg strong and rooted. Inhale, come back, warrior two. From here, we reach the right hand forward, keeping that space in the side body. Right elbow comes down, left arm reaching up and over for extended side angle pose. Using that right arm and right leg connection to help you open the chest, rotate to the sky, shoulders pulling down the back. Turning your left hand to the pinky side down. Inhale, come back to warrior two. And exhale to cartwheel the arms down, back heel lifts as you place the hands on either side of your right foot. And we step back into plank. Feel free to skip chaturanga. You can always go straight to downward dog if you like. Choosing your own variations, depending on how your body feels. I'm feeling a bit more energetic today, so I'm choosing to go into chaturanga, but there's lots of days where chaturanga is not something I feel like doing, and I just skip it. And I allow myself that space, that choice. Inhale, left the left leg up, bend the knee, rotate that hip. Right heel pressing down, left knee reaching higher. As you open up the left hip, you might notice your chest is opening out to the side. Counter rotate with that left arm so the shoulders stay side by side. Inhale, square the hips. Exhale, swing that leg forward. Find your lunge, ground the back heel. Find the outer edge of your right foot, press into the feet, come up, warrior two. Opening the hips and chest to the side. You're feeling your hips rotating externally here, so a bit of a stretch maybe through the inner thighs here. Reach the arms in opposite directions. Shoulders down the back. Finding your strength here, finding your grounding, as the name suggests, warrior. Let that sense of purpose, determination, let that sense flow through the body. And we find that from the feet. The foundation is strong, the legs are active. From here, we flip the front palm, lean back as you exhale, exalted warrior. Keeping the chest facing off to the side. Keep breathing through it all. Inhale, come back. Reaching your left hand forward. Elbow comes down, right arm reaching up and over. Turning your right arm, pinky facing down. You'll find that long line of energy from the top hand all the way down to the back leg. And notice how I can lift my left elbow. It doesn't change anything in the pose. So this is not really a point of support. It's merely just there as a way for me to rotate my chest and torso to the side and towards the sky. So if you like, you can always do this as well with both arms reaching, challenging your body whenever you like. Inhale, come back to warrior two. And exhale, cartwheel the arms down, back heel lifts, and then finding your plank from here all the way through to downward facing dog. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, settle into that space. The next breath in, bend the knees, looking forward. Exhale to step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, and bend the knees, round into the spine, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, rising up, reaching up through the arms. Exhale, lower the hands down and shake it out. We're going to start to transition towards the seated part of the class. Before that, we'll come into some balancing poses. For that, I'll turn this way. Bring the big toes together, heels slightly apart. We're standing Ashtanga style. Find that grounding once again. Let's lift the toes, spread them wide, and lay them back down. Giving you a little bit more surface area to stand on. And ground into your feet, screw into your legs. And from here, we transition weight onto the left side. Finding a spot in front of you that's not moving helps. Letting your gaze be focused there. As you shift weight onto your left side, picking up the right hip. Let the foot come along with it. Bend the knee, bring it up to your hips. Always taking your time moving through the stages. Rotate that hip externally. Placing your shin onto the thigh. Bring the palms together at chest center. Feel free to hang out here. The idea here is to open into that hip. So you want to think about rotating your right hip so it moves towards the back right corner of the mat. If you wish to go deeper into this pose, you can come into a one-legged squat. When you're moving into the squat, your seat is moving back. You want to keep that knee tracking on top of the ankle as much as you can. So rather than letting the knee push past the toes, you want to think about moving your seat back as if you're sitting into a chair. And with a little bit of wind today, challenging my balance. Always great to have some variables. Every time you come into a balancing pose, you find yourself coming out of the pose, just take your time, coming back into it. And start making our way up out of the squat. Release the hip and place that foot back down. Let's shake it up. Setting up for the same pose on the other side. Big toes together, lift the toes, spread them wide, lay them back down. Finding your root through your legs, engaging through the midsection, chest is lifted, shoulders relaxed. Finding your drishti. Shifting weight onto your right foot, picking up the left foot. And bend the knee. Rotate the hip, shin against your right thigh. Flex into the ankle and toes to protect that knee from sideways pressure. Begin to rotate that hip towards the back left corner of the mat. Palms together, chest center. And we go further from here, if you like. Always keeping the chest lifted so there's space through the torso. We're not collapsing or rounding into the spine. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure you're really pressing that leg against your thigh to help rotate the hip. Maybe you're feeling into the glutes along the outer part, maybe more in the inner part of the hip, depending on where you hold tension through that leg. Breathing, hanging out in the pose. And then coming up on an inhale and releasing on an exhale. Really nicely done. Shake it out. And here we take the feet about shoulder width distance. You want your heels relatively underneath your shoulders with your toes turned out 45 degrees. We're going to settle down into Malasana, bringing the palms together, and we lower ourselves down into Malasana. Now, if this way of coming into Malasana is not accessible to you, finding a different way is great. If you need a block underneath your seat to offer some support, you can totally take that choice as well. Press the arms against the inner thighs, moving your chest towards your thumbs, broaden through your collarbones, and looking forward, maybe closing the eyes. You can do some neck rotations here. We can do some twists, opening the arms to one side, then to the other. Lots of variations in Malasana, and stillness is perfectly fine as one of them. If you're feeling adventurous today, you can move into an arm balance, like throw or crane here. I like to take a little bit more time in Malasana, as I find my hips tend to feel quite tight when I first come into it. And after a few breaths, after settling in, it's like something opens up and unlocks, and I find myself just getting a little bit deeper, letting my tailbone lengthen down, letting my head lengthen upwards, breathing into that space, that lengthening. And just start coming out of your chosen variation, coming back to neutral. And then to come out of the pose, we bring the hands behind the body, bring our seat down, take the feet a little bit wider apart, and windshield wiper the hips. And we move into Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together. You can keep the hands behind the body, press into the hands to lift the chest up. You can also bring your hands forward, grabbing hold of your feet, turning them to open up towards the sky, lift the chest, draw the shoulders down the back. Again, feel free to find your variation here. If you want to stay upright or fold, up to you. Make sure your spine stays long in your chosen variation and the hips can relax and open. And you find your steady, easy breath. As we start to move towards the closing of the class, let that sense of relaxation flood over your body, easing into your breathing. Use a driving metaphor, taking your foot off the gas a little bit, and allowing yourself to coast. And we're going to move into Happy Baby. So you can grab hold of your feet. You can use your peace fingers to grab hold of your big toes. You like that variation better, leaning back, picking up your feet off the mat. We're going to start off with opening the hips. Make sure there's space behind you to make a safe landing. Lift the chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then from here, with control, easing your way onto the mat. And then from here, switching your grip as needed. You want to keep your tailbone in contact with the mat as much as possible. So roll your tailbone down. Keep the feet facing up to the sky. Shins are perpendicular to the earth. And feel the arms pressing against the inner thighs, helping open up the hips, rocking side to side. Keeping the shoulders and the back of the head in contact with the mat. If there's a particular finishing pose that you're craving, you can go into that now. Feel free to hang out in your Happy Baby for a little while longer. If you're ready for Shavasana, start to transition towards, pose for this class. Taking your feet mat width distance, allowing the feet to roll out to the sides, taking up space with your arms, palms face up to start. If you prefer some grounding, you can let your hands rest on the chest and belly. Take your time getting those movements or shuffles out of the way so you can really settle into stillness. Allow the eyes to close when you're ready. And letting your breath and your heartbeat slow down. Allowing your body this time of rest. I know sometimes it's tempting to stop right here and just begin your day, as Shavasana can feel like a luxury, an indulgence. But the purpose of Shavasana is not just to lie down, but it's to allow your practice to integrate, for us to move away from our bodily sensations, to withdraw from the senses, just allowing ourselves to be without thinking of what needs to be done, without trying to control the breath or the body in any way. And taking this time to allow your mind to drift into relaxation, releasing the grip of your body, allowing the eyes and the tongue to drop back, feeling the benefits of your practice sinking in while you rest in Shavasana. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana for a few more moments, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for being here, sharing your practice, and for allowing me to guide you through the class. Thank you. Namaste.